Now watch us steamroll these guys! The Prussians are the first to encounter Napoleon's men and are shocked at his speed of movement. They try to hold them back, but they are unprepared and ultimately fail. The British are warned, and the Duke of Wellington and Blücher quickly begin their preparations for their inevitable date with the Demon of France. They both know from experience that Napoleon will not give them time to prepare. Within 24 hours, they'll be forced once again into battle against the greatest general of their lifetime. The next day, Napoleon makes his move. He divides his men and places half his army under the command of the man he had called the bravest of the brave, Field Marshal Michel Ney, and gives him orders to capture the British-held town of Quatre Bras. At the same time, he personally takes the remainder of his men and marches toward the small village of Ligny to engage the Prussians. With lightning speed, Napoleon moves his men into position and waits. At 2:30 p.m., he finally hears cannon fire coming from Quatre Bras. Ney has begun his assault, so in turn, he gives the command to attack. French cannons open fire on the Prussians, and his troops rush into battle. Fighting engulfs the streets of Ligny. Homes and buildings are quickly stormed and used as defensive positions. The townspeople trapped in the crossfire can do nothing but cover their eyes and ears and hold their children close as carnage erupts all around them. The Prussians fight bitterly, but Napoleon's army is like an unstoppable force of nature. By the end of the day, 16,000 Prussian soldiers are dead, and those still alive are forced to retreat. Blücher is nearly killed in the battle after his horse is shot out from under him, but he somehow survives. And can I just stop here for just a second and point out that Blücher was 72 years old at this battle? He's literally a grandpa out there leading cavalry charges against the world's greatest general. What a Chad! Anyway, Blücher's generals push for a full retreat, but he refuses. He must remain close to help the Duke of Wellington when the time comes. This he had promised. So instead, he regroups his army to the north just 18 miles away. He'll risk the lives of all of his men to keep his word. At Quatre Bras, Ney has less luck against the British. He had hesitated, and this delay had allowed his enemy time to fully fortify their positions. He has more men, but they're now running straight into heavy defensive fire, and wave after wave of his soldiers die trying to take the town. As the sun sets, the Duke of Wellington's forces have successfully stopped Ney's advance. In the cover of night, the British safely retreat to Waterloo, while a disgruntled Marshal Ney slinks back to Napoleon. Now, Ney had failed to crush the British forces at Quatre Bras, but he did manage to keep them separated from the Prussians. Phase 1 of Napoleon's plan had still worked, and they can now use the full power of the French army to crush each of their enemies one at a time. But Napoleon receives a report that some of the Prussians are still nearby. If they reach the British and combine their forces, the battle will become much more difficult. He cannot allow this to happen. So he draws up plans to attack Wellington immediately. He will crush the British army before Blücher and the Prussians have any hope of saving them. The fate of Europe will come down to a race against time. And this final decisive battle will happen on Sunday, June 18th, 1815, at a